So hey besties, let's cook dinner for that man and them kids, and tonight we are going to make us a nice, delicious, juicy turkey meatloaf. Now I haven't had meatloaf in a while, so I was excited about this. First thing we had to do was go ahead and start seasoning our ground turkey, and when I got the seasoning in it, the whole top came off. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and make sure you follow your girl on all social media platforms posted above. Now we had to go ahead and back up just a little bit and start this all the way over. I don't know what happened, but that top completely came off when it was time to go ahead and season that turkey. So now we're going to go ahead and try and take off most of the seasoning that we can. And this is what it looked like after I tried to take off as much as I can. Now we are using 2.5 pounds of turkey. So that is what is going to save us, because we are using a lot of turkey. So we do require a good amount of seasoning. So I went on ahead, got off as much as I can. Now it's time to go ahead and continue the process. Went on and added in the rest of my seasonings that I needed. I'm going to use some onion powder. Of course, you got to have that onion powder. You're definitely going to have to go ahead and add you some garlic powder, but because we have a good amount of seasoning already on this, we're only going to use a little bit. We're not going to go too heavy, and majority of the seasoning that we are going to be using does not have any sodium in it, so we're not going to have to worry about this being too salty. Go ahead, add you some roasted garlic and herb seasoning in there, and then of course we had to go ahead and put me some of that cilantro in there. After I got my cilantro in there, it was time to go ahead and add me in some of that garlic butter. Now I don't know if anybody has tried garlic butter, but ever since I tried this, I have to have it in stock on my cabinet. 10 out of 10, highly recommend. Went on ahead and put in some of that chicken seasoning, because to me turkey and chicken kind of has the same profile when it's grounded up, so I know that it will go good together. After I got all my seasonings in there, it was time to go ahead and crack an egg. Now I was debating if I should use 1 egg or 2 eggs, but sometimes when I use 2 eggs, I feel like my meatloaf mixture is a little bit too wet, so I just decided to use 1 egg. Add me in a cup of breadcrumbs right there, unseasoned breadcrumbs, because we have enough seasoning in there already. And now we're going to go ahead and give it a good mix everything together, make sure everything is seasoned nicely. You want all those flavors to be nice and combined together. Now while we're going ahead mixing our meatloaf together, I did go ahead and start preheating my oven at 350 degrees so it can get nice and hot. This is how our meatloaf looks after it was seasoned, and we are going to start shaping our meatloaf. So I went on ahead and got a regular pan. Now if you have a meatloaf pan, you can go ahead and use that. I do not have one, so I'm going to use a regular aluminum pan, and I'm just going to go ahead and kind of shape it myself with my hand. Now when it comes to shaping my meatloaf, I am going to try and get it perfect every single time. It takes me about 15 to 20 minutes the most to get this process done when I'm doing a meatloaf, because I'm always trying to pat the sides down, pat the top down, get around there, make sure it's the perfect shape, make sure it has that meatloaf shape. I don't want it to spread out in my pan. I want to make sure everything is nice and even, and the thickness and everything is the same, because I want everything to cook evenly. I am just like, I take my time. I'm going to go ahead, make sure I do it right, make sure everything is together. I don't want no parts missed. Like when it comes to this, I have to do it. I just can't rush this part. So as I'm going to go ahead and shape and pat and make sure my meatloaf is coming together to my liking, I am going to go ahead and start boiling my potatoes, because we're going to have some mashed potatoes with this. After I put my meatloaf in there for about an hour and a half, it was time for me to go ahead and put my sauce on top. Now I do not like the tomato sauce. I'm more of a barbecue sauce, but the barbecue sauce I'm using is a spicy barbecue sauce, so it was a little loose. It was not as thick as I wanted it to be. I did add a little bit of honey and brown sugar in there, and then I just went on ahead, put it on top, and then we're going to put it back in the oven so that it can become one and that sauce can really cook into our meatloaf. After I put it back in the oven, went on ahead and finished up my mashed potatoes. We also steamed some cauliflower, and then it was time to go ahead and plate. Put some mash on my plate, put 2 pieces of meatloaf, put some of that cauliflower. We're going to sprinkle a little bit of parsley on top, because you know you fancy like that. And now it's time to go ahead and call that man and them kids, because dinner is served, y'all. And when I tell you, meatloaf, quick, easy, delicious, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. Put this on your menu for the week.